My daughter didn't hang up the phone, and I overheard her cold words. "He's a burden. Time for a nursing home." I stayed silent, sold our coastal home for $920,000, and when they returned from their trip, their keys failed. Then they found my note on the door, and their screams echoed through the night, leaving me wondering what they'd do next. The phone rang just as I was scraping the last of Sarah's meatloaf off my plate, the savory tang of her recipe lingering like a ghost in my mouth. "I'm Jack Thompson, a retired construction engineer, and that night, in my cedar-shingled house perched on a cliff overlooking the Oregon coast, my world shattered. The Pacific Ocean churned below, its waves crashing against the rocks like a warning I'd ignored too long. The house, with its hand-laid oak floors and arched windows Sarah loved, was my sanctuary, built with sweat and dreams over 25 years. But as I picked up the phone, I had no idea I was about to lose it all. It was Emily, my only daughter, her voice warm as a summer breeze, asking how I was holding up. "Dad, you eating okay?" she said, that familiar concern in her tone, the kind that always made me think of her mother. I settled into Sarah's old leather armchair, its cushions worn smooth from her evenings spent reading by the picture window, the one that framed the sunsets over Tillamook Bay. "Oh, you know me, sweetheart," I said, chuckling. "Just finished dinner. Might catch the Blazers game later." I didn't mention the meatloaf was 3 days old, or that I'd spent an hour staring at Sarah's photo on the mantel, her hazel eyes frozen in time. We chatted about her business trip to Seattle, where she and her husband, Nathan, were attending some fancy marketing conference. Emily's always been a talker, full of energy, with her mother's knack for charming a room. Nathan, on the other hand, is all slick confidence, a financial advisor with a smile that never quite reaches his eyes. I mentioned a little scare I'd had. Left the coffee pot on too long, nearly burned the damn thing. "Dad, that's not nothing," Emily said, her voice tightening. "Maybe we should get someone to check on you more often." I brushed it off. "I'm fine, honey. Just a senior moment." But I could hear her frown through the phone, that little crease between her brows, just like Sarah's. The call ended, or so I thought. I reached to hang up, but then I heard it, muffled voices, sharp and cold, filtering through the receiver. Emily hadn't hung up. She'd tossed her phone in her purse, and now I was eavesdropping on a conversation that wasn't meant for me. "He's slipping, Nathan," Emily said, her warmth gone, replaced by a tone as icy as the Oregon winter. "Forgetting the coffee pot? That's a fire hazard. It's time for a nursing home." My hand froze, the receiver trembling against my ear. "A nursing home? Me?" Nathan's voice cut in, calm and calculated. "He's a burden, Em. You know it. That house is worth, what, $1 million now? We could sell it, put him in a decent facility, and buy that loft in Portland, the one with the river view." My chest tightened, a cold weight settling where love used to be. They laughed, actually laughed, about how I still trusted them completely. Emily's voice, sharp as a knife. "God, he's so grateful just to hear from me. He has no clue we're planning this." The phone slipped from my hand, clattering onto the oak floor I'd laid with my own hands, every board a promise to Sarah and our future. I stared at Sarah's photo, her eyes seeming to pierce through me, disappointed, maybe even betrayed. This house, our house, was a monument to our life together. The arched windows Sarah picked from a catalog, the fireplace I built stone by stone, the kitchen where Emily took her first steps, giggling as Sarah scooped her up. I'd worked double shifts to pay for Emily's college, $50,000 over 4 years, my back aching from hauling lumber. Her wedding? $35,000, every cent earned through weekend gigs installing drywall for buddies who paid cash. When Nathan lost his job, some shady deal he never explained, I let them move in. No rent, no questions, just groceries for 3 and utility bills I never asked them to split. "You're the best, Dad," Emily would say, hugging me tight. Nathan would clap my shoulder, calling me the most generous guy in Oregon. Generous. What a fool I'd been. Their words echoed in my skull. Burden, sell the house, no clue. Something inside me snapped, not with anger, but with a clarity I hadn't felt since Sarah's cancer took her. I wasn't going to let my daughter and her snake of a husband strip me of my life's work. I walked to the kitchen, the ocean's roar outside matching the storm in my chest, and rifled through the drawer where I kept old papers. There it was, Karen Miller's business card. A real estate attorney Sarah insisted we meet after her diagnosis. "Just in case," she'd said, her voice weak but firm. I clutched the card like a lifeline, my hands steady for the first time that night. The next morning, I woke to a sky bruised purple over Tillamook Bay, the air thick with the briny scent of seaweed and pine. I drove my old Ford pickup along the winding coastal road, past craggy cliffs and gnarled spruce trees, to Karen's office in Newport. Her building sat on a quiet street lined with clapboard shops, the kind where locals sold crab traps and homemade fudge. Inside, the smell of coffee and old books greeted me. Karen, a sharp woman in her 50s with a no-nonsense bob and kind eyes, poured me a mug from her Keurig. "Jack, it's been a while," she said, her voice soft with sympathy. "I'm sorry about Sarah." I laid it all out. The overheard call, Emily and Nathan's plan to warehouse me and sell my house. Karen's jaw tightened, but her expression stayed calm, like she'd heard this story before. "Legally, they've got no leg to stand on," she said, leaning back in her chair. "The house is in your name alone since Sarah passed. They can't touch it without your say-so." Relief hit me like a wave, but it was quickly drowned by a new resolve. "Karen," I said, my voice low, "I want to sell it. Fast, before they get back from Seattle." She raised an eyebrow but didn't flinch. "Tidewater's market is red hot right now. Beachfront properties like yours, they're gone in days, especially to cash buyers." She scribbled notes on a legal pad. "I can connect you with someone who moves fast. But Jack, this is a big move. You sure?" I thought of Emily's laugh, Nathan's cold calculation, the way they'd already spent my money in their minds. "I've never been surer," I said, my voice hard as the cliffs outside. Karen gave me the number for Tom Reynolds, a real estate agent known for closing deals faster than you can say ocean view. I called him from my truck, the Pacific stretching endless and gray to my left. Tom was all business, his voice crackling with energy. "Mr. Thompson, I can swing by this afternoon. Tell me about your place." I described the house. 3,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms, custom oak staircase I carved myself, windows that caught every sunset. "Sounds like a gem," he said. "I've got investors who'd kill for a place like that." Tom arrived at 3, his SUV crunching over the gravel drive. He was younger than I expected, mid-40s, with a surfer's tan and a tablet under his arm. He walked through the house, whistling at the craftsmanship. "You built this yourself?" he asked, running a hand along the staircase banister. "Every inch," I said, pride mixing with pain. "Sarah picked the window frames, said they reminded her of the lighthouse at Yaquina Head." Tom nodded, snapping photos. This place is a gold mine, Jack. I'm thinking $920,000. Cash deal closed in 10 days. 10 days. Emily and Nathan would be back in 8, expecting their grateful old dad to be waiting, ready to be packed off to some sterile facility. I looked out the window, where the ocean churned under a darkening sky, and felt a spark ignite in my chest. Not fear, not grief, power. "Let's do it," I said, my voice steady as the rocks below. Tom grinned, already dialing his investors. "You're making the right call, Jack. This is going to move fast." As he left, I stood in the living room, the wind howling outside, rattling the windows Sarah loved. I could almost hear her voice, soft but firm. "Don't let them take advantage of you, Jack." I'd promised her I wouldn't, but I'd failed. Until now. Emily and Nathan thought they could play me. Thought I was too old, too trusting, too broken to fight back. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. I picked up Karen's card again, my fingers steady, and dialed her number. The game was on, and I was done playing nice. What comes next? Would my daughter and her husband realize their mistake? Or would they double down on their betrayal? One thing was certain. The house I'd built with love was now a battlefield, and I was ready to win. The sun was dipping below the horizon, painting the Columbia River in shades of fire and gold, as I sat in my new apartment at Seaside Haven. The view of the Astoria Megler Bridge stretched before me, its steel frame a silent sentinel over the water, where cargo ships glided like ghosts in the twilight. I held a glass of Sarah's favorite Pinot Noir, a 2017 vintage we'd saved for a special occasion that never came. Her photo sat on the nightstand, her hazel eyes steady, as if she were watching me navigate this new chapter. I'd just sold our house, our life's work, for $920,000, and the money was safe in a Pacific Trust bank account, far from the greedy hands of my daughter, Emily, and her husband, Nathan. They thought I was a burden, a confused old man to be packed off to a nursing home. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The apartment was small, functional, with beige carpet and generic furniture that felt like a motel room compared to the warmth of our cedar-shingled home in Tidewater. But it was mine, chosen on my terms, a fresh start at 68. I'd packed light. Sarah's jewelry box, our wedding album, and the novel she'd left open on page 247 when cancer stole her away. The rest, our oak furniture, the curtains Sarah sewed, the memories etched into every corner of that house, I'd left behind. Not out of defeat, but strategy. Emily and Nathan's betrayal had lit a fire in me, and I was playing a game they didn't even know had started. It began with a locksmith. I'd paid $500 cash to replace every lock in the house, swapping out the brass knobs Sarah loved for sleek, modern steel ones. The new keys felt foreign in my hand, a reminder that the house was no longer my home, but a stage for the lesson I was about to teach. I'd arranged for Emily and Nathan's belongings, clothes, laptops, their pretentious coffee maker, to be packed and stored at a facility in Newport, with a 30-day deadline before fees kicked in. Let them scramble to figure that out. I'd also installed a mini surveillance camera, disguised as a wall clock, in the hallway facing the front door. Its app pinged my phone with crystal-clear video, ready to capture the moment they realized their keys didn't work. That moment was coming. It was Friday evening, and Emily and Nathan were due back from their Seattle conference any minute. I sipped my wine, the taste rich and bittersweet, and checked the camera feed. The screen showed an empty entryway, The oak floors I'd laid gleaming under the chandelier Sarah picked out at a flea market. I'd taped a handwritten note to the front door, my engineer's script careful and deliberate. Dear Emily, and Nathan, if you're reading this, my plan worked. I heard your call about putting me in a nursing home, calling me a burden, planning to sell my house. It's sold. $920,000 cash, safe in my account. I've moved somewhere I'm valued, not tolerated. Your things are at Newport Storage, 30 days to claim them. I gave you everything for 42 years. You repaid me with betrayal. I hope the lesson's worth the cost. Love, Dad. The words were sharp, final, but they didn't capture the ache in my chest. The way Emily's laugh had cut deeper than any knife. I'd raised her in that house, taught her to ride a bike on the gravel drive, built her a treehouse in the spruce out back. Sarah and I had sacrificed everything: second mortgages, late-night shifts, cars held together with duct tape, to give her a life better than ours. Her wedding, her college tuition, the months I supported them when Nathan's financial advisor career tanked. And yet, here I was, alone in a one-bedroom apartment, toasting to justice while my daughter plotted to steal my legacy. My phone buzzed at 5:15 p.m., the camera app flashing a motion alert. I leaned forward, heart pounding like the waves against the cliffs. Their black SUV pulled into the driveway, tires crunching on the gravel I'd spread 20 years ago. Emily stepped out first, stretching after the long drive, her blonde hair catching the fading light. Nathan followed, hauling their suitcases, his jaw set in that smug way I'd always ignored. They moved with the ease of people who thought they owned the place, who thought they'd already won. Emily fished her keys from her purse, her movements casual, confident. She slid the key into the lock, twisted, and froze. The key didn't turn. She tried again, jiggling it, her brow furrowing. "What the hell?" she muttered, her voice clear through the camera's mic. Nathan set the bags down, his face shifting from tired to annoyed. "Let me try the back door," he said, disappearing around the side of the house. Emily kept at it, her frustration growing, muttering about cheap locks. I leaned closer to the screen, my pulse quickening. This was it, the moment they'd realize their game was over. Nathan returned, his expression dark. "Back door's locked too. Garage remote's dead." His voice had an edge now, the kind of panic that creeps in when plans unravel. Emily pulled out her phone, dialing the old landline I'd disconnected days ago. "No answer," she said, her voice cracking. "It's not even going to voicemail." Nathan's eyes narrowed, scanning the windows. "Something's off, Em. These locks are new. Someone changed them." I could have laughed, but the weight of their betrayal kept me silent. Emily's face crumpled, her confidence replaced by fear. "Dad doesn't even know any locksmiths," she said, almost to herself. Nathan, ever the problem solver, pointed to the dining room window. "That one's unlocked. I can boost you up." I'd left it unlatched on purpose, a small concession to ensure they'd get inside and find my note. Emily climbed through, her business suit snagging on the frame, and moments later, she opened the front door from within. They stepped inside, dragging their suitcases, and stopped dead. The white envelope on the door, their names in my handwriting, glared at them like a spotlight. Emily's hand trembled as she tore it open, Nathan reading over her shoulder. I watched their faces shift, confusion, disbelief, then horror. "He sold the house," Emily whispered, her voice breaking. $92,000. He kept it all. Nathan snatched the note, his eyes darting across the words. "That sneaky bastard," he spat. "He played us like a damn fiddle." Emily's tears came fast, streaking her mascara. "This was our future, Nathan. Our house in Portland." Nathan's face twisted, his charm gone. "Your future? You're the one who said he was a burden, Em. You pushed the nursing home idea." She whirled on him, years of resentment spilling out. "You're the one who said we'd be set for life. You lost your job 6 months ago and didn't tell me." Nathan's jaw dropped, then hardened. "Oh, don't pin this on me. Your dad's the one who screwed us over. We're homeless, Em. Our lease is up next week." I shut off the camera feed, my heart pounding but steady. They were fighting in the living room where Sarah and I had danced to old jazz records, where Emily had opened Christmas presents as a kid. Now they were facing the consequences of their greed, their cruelty. I raised my glass to Sarah's photo. "To you, honey," I whispered. "Justice served." The wine tasted like victory, sharp and satisfying. I deleted a text from an unknown number, probably Emily, without reading it, and powered off my phone. Outside, the Astoria skyline glowed under the stars, and for the first time since Sarah's death, I felt free. But freedom came with a shadow. The next morning, I woke to a voicemail from Emily, her voice shaky but controlled. "Dad, we need to talk. Call me back, please." I didn't. Instead, I drove to a coffee shop called Driftwood Brews, a cozy spot with weathered wood tables and the smell of roasted beans. The barista, a young guy with a man bun named Jake, remembered my order from the day before. A black coffee, no nonsense. "You're new around here, right?" he asked, friendly but not prying. "Just moved to Seaside Haven," I said, sipping my coffee by a window overlooking the river. Starting over. Starting over wasn't just about a new address. It was about rebuilding a life I'd almost let slip away. I spent the day settling into the apartment, arranging Sarah's things, her jewelry box on the dresser, our wedding photo by the bed. The novel, still open to page 247, went on the nightstand, a reminder of promises unkept. I researched investment options, my engineer's mind calculating how $920,000 could secure my future. Pacific Trust Bank's advisor, Michael Lee, had been a godsend, setting up my account with layers of security to keep it out of reach. "You're in good hands, Mr. Thompson," he'd said, his voice calm and professional. I believed him. By Monday, I was finding a rhythm. Coffee at Driftwood Brews, walks along the riverfront where seagulls wheeled overhead, their cries mingling with the hum of fishing boats. But Emily and Nathan weren't done. My phone buzzed with another text. "Dad, we're sorry. Let's meet. We can fix this." Fix it? They thought apologies could undo their betrayal. I ignored it, but a nagging doubt crept in. What if they fought back? What if they hired a lawyer, claiming I was incompetent, trying to claw back the money? I pushed the thought aside, but it lingered like fog over the bay. Tuesday brought a new twist. I was at the bank, finalizing some paperwork, when Michael mentioned an inquiry about my account. "Someone called, claiming to be your daughter," he said, his brow furrowed. "Wanted to know about recent transactions." I didn't tell her anything, of course. My stomach twisted. Emily was digging, and Nathan, with his financial background, would know where to look. I thanked Michael and drove back to Seaside Haven, my mind racing. They weren't going to let this go. I needed to stay one step ahead. That night, I ordered another camera, this one for my apartment door, just in case. Paranoid? Maybe. But I'd underestimated them once, and I wasn't about to do it again. I also called Karen Miller, my attorney, to double-check the sale's legality. "Ironclad," she said. "The house was yours, Jack. They have no claim." Her words were a lifeline, but the doubt persisted. What were they planning? A lawsuit? A sob story to the neighbors? Or something worse? Wednesday morning, I got my answer. A letter arrived at Seaside Haven, forwarded from the Tidewater House. It was from a lawyer in Portland, representing Emily and Nathan, claiming I'd sold the house under mental duress and demanding access to the funds. My hands shook as I read it, not with fear, but rage. Mental duress? I'd built that house with my bare hands, paid for their lives with my sweat, and now they were painting me as a senile old man. I called Karen immediately. "They're bluffing," she said, her voice steady. "This is a scare tactic. We'll counter with proof of your competency, bank records, contracts, even your medical history if needed." The threat lit a new fire in me. I wasn't just fighting for my money. I was fighting for my dignity, for the life Sarah and I had built. I spent the day gathering evidence. My engineering licenses, recent tax returns, even a note from my doctor confirming I was sharp as ever. But as I worked, a darker thought took root. What if they showed up here? What if they tried to confront me? To guilt me into giving in? I checked the new camera's feed, its lens trained on my apartment door. Nothing yet, but I wasn't taking chances. Thursday, the tension broke. My phone rang, Emily's number flashing. I let it go to voicemail, my heart pounding. Her voice was desperate, almost unhinged. "Dad, we're falling apart. Nathan's gone, left me last night. I didn't mean for this to happen. Please, just talk to me." I sat frozen, the phone heavy in my hand. Nathan left? Part of me wanted to call back, to hear her out, to believe she was sorry. But Sarah's voice echoed in my mind. "Don't let them take advantage of you, Jack. I'd given them everything, my love, my home, my trust, and they'd thrown it back in my face." I drove to Driftwood Brews, needing air, needing people. Jake, the barista, slid my coffee across the counter. "Rough day, Jack?" he asked, reading my face. "You could say that," I replied, managing a half smile. I sat by the window, watching the river flow, and made a decision. I wasn't going to hide. I wasn't going to let their guilt trips pull me back. I called Karen and told her to draft a response to their lawyer, shutting down their claim with every piece of evidence we had. "Make it clear," I said. "This ends now." Friday morning, I woke to a new kind of clarity. The sky over Astoria was bright, the bridge gleaming like a promise of new beginnings. I walked to the riverfront, the salt air sharp in my lungs, and felt something I hadn't in years. Hope. Emily's voicemail played in my head, but it didn't break me. She'd made her choices, and so had I. I wasn't her burden anymore. I was Jack Thompson, engineer, widower, survivor. I'd built a life once, and I'd do it again. As I sat on a bench, watching a cargo ship disappear into the horizon, my phone buzzed with a final text from Emily. "I'm sorry, Dad. I hope you're happy." I didn't reply. Instead, I looked out at the water, the waves carrying away the weight of betrayal. I'd won, not just the money, but my freedom, my future. Sarah's photo waited back at the apartment, and I knew she'd be proud. The tide had turned, and I was ready for whatever came next.